It is Money Monday here at KMIR-6, and this morning we're talking about saving versus investing.
And to help us navigate through this, President and CEO of Integrated Wealth Management, Jim Casey, joins us in studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Jim, first question. If you live paycheck to paycheck, which unfortunately I do, can I even think of investing?
Everybody can think about investing, but first you have to think about savings. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck to start, you want to kind of stock up a little cash reserve. So again, we've talked about this on and on. We all live paycheck to paycheck. Your employer or your banks will help you take that money before you even get to touch it and put it in a savings account. And don't confuse savings and investing. You've got to have that little cash reserve nest egg before you start investing.
Is there kind of a minimum amount that we should have before we even think about investing?
The rule of thumb is about 6 months of living expenses, because you want to have it, something happens to you in your job or disability, you want to have some savings set aside just so you can dip into that and don't have any financial crises.
Okay, and so the intro to investing, what does investing mean?
One thing I want to tell everybody is investing is not entertainment. So let's not play the stock market as if it's a game. You have to have a methodical plan. And we say investing too, the first thing about investing is just do it. Do it and do it. So little by little by little, make it consistent. And then again, if you're not a person who's going to pick out what investments to be in, work with someone who has that ability to do so.
Now, if you're starting with a small amount, do you want to just do it on your own then, maybe do some research, or at what point should you then go to somebody who to help you invest?
There are every levels of investment advisors out there. A lot of mutual fund companies have somebody on staff, if you would, to actually help you decide what to invest in. A lot of the E-Trades and Schwab's, they all have somebody that can help you do that. And there's a lot of literature out there. So do your research. Just like I said last week, before you take a vacation, you plan for that vacation before you start investing. Find out what's right for you. Don't listen to your brother or your neighbor, your sister, your mother, someone who always has the right answer.
And you just brought up a point. We are talking about vacation. It is summertime. A lot of people don't plan appropriately and then find themselves in a hole, a financial hole. How do you avoid that?
Well, that's the big thing, because now, again, you know, I always tell people with your credit cards, if you want to go on vacation, budget it out and make sure that you can pay off your credit cards when you come home, so you don't regret taking that vacation. It has to be part of the budget. So again, everyone needs a vacation, but everyone also needs to save and invest.
Now, we do have a graphic that you got some information for us, and you talked about how early you should be investing. So it's important to start early, right?
The best thing that can work for us, I said this last week, is to let your money work for you. So the more that you can start, the more you can put in earlier on in your life, the better off you're going to be when you're retired. $10,000 at the age of 20 is going to grow dramatically just by compound interest versus if you waited 20 years. I wish somebody told me at 20 years old to start putting money away. And it seems like, no, I want to save for a house. I've got to go on a vacation. I've got to buy a car. Everything has to be balanced out as piece of the financial plan.
The fear, though, for me at least, is that the money will somehow disappear. Like I'll lose it all, and stock market will go bad.
Nothing's guaranteed. We all saw that in 2008. I've been around long enough to see 3 market crashes, but they always come back. And they say it's a cycle. A market cycle is just that, because they do come back. Don't make rash decisions if the market does take a dip. But again, if you're saving, do not invest in the market. I always talk about investing being a 5-year minimum plan. If you need to not touch that money for 5 years, then that's investing. Anything under 5 years is savings, and use those accounts like money market funds and bank accounts, et cetera, to do that.
So be in it for the long term, and then you should be able to reap from it.
Exactly, and it's just a cycle. Just like the housing market took a cycle, you've got to be in it, you got to be able to afford to leave it there.
Great advice. Thank you, Jim,
okay,
so much for joining us. And of course, if you want to get in touch with Jim, just go to his website. He has a website for Integrated Wealth Management. You can always go check out Jim and call his office, right, with any questions.
All right, thank you, Jim. Stay with us. We'll have more news and weather after the break.